things we're looking to do with story mode is allow players sort of get as deep into the story as they want to. So they can, some players are very interested in the story, or maybe they're interested in only some parts of the story. So maybe they find the character Tychus really interesting. He always says something funny. They think he's really cool. So they really want to follow up on everything that has something to do with Tychus. Or maybe they don't really care for a character like Tosh, right? And so they don't really check in with him as often, or don't check in with him at all. So it really allows players to sort of get as much or as little as they want as they go throughout the process. So what we're looking at doing is providing a space that's big enough and deep enough to finally satisfy the people who are really, really hungry for lots of story. But at the same time, it's something you could kind of just get through really quickly if you didn't want to deal with it as a player who doesn't really want to get into the story quite as much. So we definitely have hero units in Starcraft. It's just that hero units in Starcraft work very differently than they do in a game like Warcraft 3. Like Warcraft 3 is a game that we've done before, right? In Warcraft 3, the entire gameplay is centered around heroes. All of the mechanics, the balance to the units, everything is focused on making that hero gameplay work. Starcraft doesn't play that way at all. Starcraft, you roll out with your hero, you get surrounded by 75 Zerglings, he's going down. And there's nothing that's going to save him, right? So what we've been trying to do is find ways to make the hero mechanic work really well in sort of a big battle Starcraft. So we still have heroes in the game, and you'll definitely see them throughout the missions, but they're missions that are designed for heroes. The core story hit is the idea that, Jim Raynor is living in a world filled with alien creatures. Protoss and Zerg are everywhere, and they're both got all kinds of advantages that Terrans can only dream of, right? So the idea of sort of the story hit is that they would go out and they would be collecting samples, stealing, relics, getting Zerg organisms and dissecting them, and really having a look inside these aliens to get some kind of fundamental benefits. The other thing it lets us do is, of course, have some additional upgrades that aren't connected to units. If you've seen the armory screen, you see most of our upgrades are connected to specific units. Right now, the way we balance the armory, you do have to pick and choose. You will not have enough money by the end of the game to have purchased everything. But we'll see how we feel about that in testing. That's something we're still looking at and something we're still moving forward. That's the current thinking, is you will have to choose. You'll never have all of the money possible. You'll definitely have all the money you want for a big chunk of the units. I think we've got it balanced right now at about 70%. Well, the idea behind aborting a mission really is like, put me back in time at my save game, right? Like, I can't handle this right now, so let me go back in time and re-choose another direction. It's not really in continuity. It's not like the idea that your guys are, all right, everybody get out, and we just leave everybody, nobody move, we'll be back, right? And everybody just bails out. Really, it is the idea of just going back to a previous safe state and allowing you to progress forward from that point. The idea behind the character sheet, something we've been looking into, is as we've been playing the game internally, and as we've been collecting feedback from a lot of different players, it's very, very common for players to forget what they had just purchased, or to simply want to see it somewhere besides the armory, especially in mission, the sum total of their goodness. They may have forgotten, did I ever upgrade fire bats? I meant to. I'm on a mission where I want to build a lot of fire bats. How upgraded are they? And so they need a way to bring that up and just have a look at it and go, all right, I did buy the fire bat. Oh my God, I bought all the upgrades. All right, here we go. Fire bats, right? And so you can really sort of make more intelligent, strategic decisions in the mission. In terms of respeccing your technology, we still haven't decided. There's been much argument about that one way or the other, whether we should allow you to sell back or we should not allow you to sell back, right? The advantages of allowing you to sell back is clearly if you make a mistake, great, you can unmake that mistake and you don't feel like you have to reload a save game or whatever, right? The disadvantages of a respec is that, you sort of encourage not to just change it all the time. Like you just constantly, change. And of course we can allow you to sell back with a penalty, but then that kind of puts you back in the first category. Maybe I should just reload, right, if I don't like that. So we're still arguing about whether we're going to do a respec or not. Hopefully with enough money in the game, right, and enough resources at your disposal, right, and enough upgrades that are important but not going to crush you if you don't have them. You won't feel the need too much one way or the other. Well, we're obviously working on providing a lot of really fun content for the story mode experience. And one of the ideas we've been working on is an arcade machine that lets you play a little arcade game built using the Starcraft engine. And I think mod makers especially be very excited to see the kinds of things you can do with the Starcraft engine with our tool set. And this is the tool set that's shipping with the game. So when you see our example of a top-down shooter, that's something you could modify or even make your own version of when it comes to making mods for Starcraft. We're not doing a lot with dynamic difficulty right now. We're definitely sort of focusing on the player choosing the difficulty he wants to play at. We're not teasing him with it or changing it with again, the player can hopefully stretch to make things harder for himself if he doesn't want to. But if he's chosen a certain difficulty and chooses to sort of sit back and play that way, then he's definitely going to get an experience that's a little bit more tame, a little bit more casual. So yeah, right now the difficulty levels are sort of balanced based on those 4 difficulties. If you play on easy, right, you're really looking for a walk in the park, right? If you played a few RTS games or you played Starcraft, 10 years ago, then normal's probably for you. But if you're kind of an experienced gamer, you really ought to consider hard. Right? That's what that's really made for. And then if you want to hurt yourself, if you want to get stabbed in the eye, you should consider insane. And that one we just take the gloves right off. Like that's just as nuts as we dare make it, knowing that we can still beat it. And the missions still need to be fun. Like it's not enough just to be mean. They still got to be a positive experience. They don't want to give you a 6-hour mission because it was hard. Right? That's not the goal. It still wants to be something that's a fun experience. But those are the 4 difficulties, which is more difficulties than I believe we've supported in the past. We should hopefully give players the right range of possibility. And that's the important thing, I think, for fans to understand this. This has some characteristics of a role-playing game, but it's really not. Right? This is a chance for you to get a little bit closer to these characters. This is an expansion of what we've done in Warcraft 3. This is a huge level up over our previous games, but we have no illusions, right? This is not Mass Effect, right? Like, we are making a game here that really is a real-time strategy game, and the gameplay is focused on the strategy elements on that board, on that map where you're battling against the enemy. That's where the action occurs. That's where the game is. And if you're interested in story, if you're interested in character, if you like the kinds of choices we're offering in terms of technology, in terms of which missions to take next, and which order you're going to take these missions, woohoo, have a good time, right? But it's not a place for you to just go crazy and build your own Starcraft universe. It still is, at its fundamental level, just hopefully, a really great strategy game.